have a little girl who was born with spina bifida, and she is going on her 39th surgery, and she's not even in high school yet. And so we've had quite the adventure of learning how to deal with overwhelm and how to deal with our emotions, because I knew she was going to go through quite the journey in her life. I knew from the moment that I continued with that pregnancy that I was going to have to gain more knowledge, more than just medical knowledge that I'd already had, but knowledge where I could help my daughter that was going to be born with disabilities to be able to have the strongest muscle, which is her mind, her brain. And with that tool, she could accomplish anything. It doesn't matter what was set in front of her. If she had a strong mindset, she could do anything. And from the moment that I continued with that pregnancy, it was actually the moment that I found out I was having a child with spina bifida, that I was introduced to somebody that taught me about how to learn about your subconscious and how to start hacking your brain to be able to change perspective of life. So I want to talk a little bit today about stop thoughting and why it's so important. When we have rampant thoughts that cause overwhelm, it's really hard to get out of that spiral until eventually we're like, oh my gosh, I've been standing here for like 2 minutes. I haven't even done anything and I've been stuck in my own world. So I find a place where I can just get out of the situation that I'm in. There's even sometimes you can't get out of that situation, and I'll sit still and I'll take 2 breaths in, and I'll breathe in through my nose and then out through my mouth, and allow my shoulders to drop. And then it'll clear my mind so I can have a little bit more clarity so that I can find a place or find the courage to go to a place. And so that is the first step I do, is finding a Zen place to be able to be. Then the next thing that I do is I am taking a moment to acknowledge where I'm at. Acknowledge I am overwhelmed. I am not feeling well right now and something is off. And I acknowledge where I'm at and I let myself know it's okay. It's okay to be here. It's okay to be overwhelmed because I'm doing something about it. And so now that I'm willing to do something about it, I've stepped out of the space, I've taken some breaths, and I'm like, okay, what emotions are really causing me to feel this way? And it's like, I am actually pretty frustrated at something. And I can sit in that and say, you know what? It's okay. It's okay that I'm frustrated, because this isn't going to be the way forever. There's reasons that we can figure out on why we're going into overwhelm and the opposite of it. And that's going to help us to create a more positive energy to get us out of overwhelm. If we just sit into our overwhelming thoughts that are continually negative, we go into this spiral that is really hard to get out of. So we have to stop. That's why it's called the, stop thought process. That's because I'm just stopping my thoughts and I'm going, where do I really want to be? Where do I really want to go? And I don't want to be here. So I'm going to start thinking about that it's okay and why it's okay. And sometimes it takes me a minute, and sometimes I have to really reach for it, but I'm putting myself into a different space is really the point. So the more that I practice, the more that I engage of stopping my thoughts, the more I become aware of my thoughts, which means I can do something about it and to help us to be able to manage them better. And it's such a simple technique. It's so simple. All of the tools that we introduce at Playful Hearts are easy techniques that you can use anywhere, techniques that you can use anytime. It doesn't matter. The stop thought process, you could be anywhere. And I've had to use it in many, many different situations. And I want to feel better. And so I'm willing to do something different because I want something different. I'm so sick of being in overwhelm. And the more that I practice to do something different when I'm in overwhelm, the less amount of times I was actually in overwhelm. Until I get to the point now where I don't have anxiety inside of me. I'm not jumping at everything that's around me that's a loud noise. When something comes up, I'm not running over all of the things that could possibly go wrong and how I could fix them and be totally prepared for everything, because that is a state of mind that puts our brain into fight-flight mode, and our amygdala starts taking control, and we live in survival mode, and we become very peripheral visions, and we can't see things really in front of us anymore, and our body really starts to struggle, and we start to hurt, and we start to have issues with our health, and we start to lose our energy, and that is something that is hard